The 45-degree angle is key, and it's one of our major tenets in the nonlinear system. And that is because it represents a line of perfection, right? You divide the vertical and the horizontal, it bisects with that 45-degree angle. So it's archetypal in nature. And it is so important to the system because with my beginners, if I can just get them to line up their body, I just have them straddle this 45 and reach out, we can get rallies going within the first 5 minutes of any lesson. Same with the backhand. It's really all you need from the 45. Yes, you can pull in more and come out more. But just by reaching out to the 45, if you remember John McEnroe, he used to just go like this a lot. He'd jump at the 45 and he wouldn't have much of a backswing at all. But he was locked into that 45-degree angle. So it's a very important thing. And not only is it the optimal contact point, it's also your optical vision point, your depth perception is much better when your body is lined up like this, like a sharpshooter, right? You're like a sharpshooter with one eye closer to the target than the other. They triangulate, and in doing so, it gives you much better depth perception. You become the predator, as opposed to facing the net, where you're the prey, like a mouse or a deer in the headlights. Or if you turn to the side, you're really only looking at the ball with one eye. So this 45-degree angle is truly perfect in nature. And you see it in every sport. When you see a golfer put the ball down to take a drive, it's not in between his legs. It's always at that 45-degree angle. If you see a baseball player in slow motion, the way they lock their leg at contact and make contact with the ball, you can see it's connected. It's right there at the 45-degree angle. When you see a basketball player line up for a free throw, right? They don't line up like this, or else they don't have the depth perception to hit the basket, right? They line up like this. You watch them, their feet are like this, and they're always juxtaposed, perpendicular, right? At this 45. So they have a much better view of the ball. So the 45 is really archetypal, and it's a big tenet in our system. And if you can stay disciplined at the 45-degree angle, you'll have incredible success, playing pretty much every day. Usually when you're off or you're hitting in the net, you're above the 45. That's why I say don't pass it, right? Get out to it. And if you have to be like Nadal and come up like this, fine. If you're more casual and you just let the elbow break, see, I'm out the 45. Before I touch it, I let the elbow break. But you don't go through the 45. That's when you hit the ball fat and dump it in the net and you have no feel. So that 45 really is the magical angle. So let's go a little deeper into this idea of the 45-degree angle on contact. It's not really a line you're thinking about. It's a plane, like a wall that goes all the way up like this and on the backhand side as well. Because you line up to the 45, right? That's your optimal contact point. It's also the best contact where you come up off the ball to create topspin, or when you go down to create underspin or a drop shot, particularly on the backhand. See, I don't like the slice where you go like this out into the court. They float. I always prefer Federer's slice where he's up here like this, comes out at the 45, and then instead of passing it, he just comes right off across his body. So he uses the 45 very, very well. You can see the way he throws his foot back a lot on backhands in his left hand. And on the forehand, same thing. He'll throw the foot back and crush the left hand in. And that keeps him at the 45. But this idea of a plane where you come up off the 45, right at contact, see that? You come up off the 45. That's what gives you spin on the ball. So don't think of the 45 as just a simple line, but as a plane. And to go deeper into the 45, it's your racket face that you don't want to pass, right? You line up your hips at contact, whether you're turned sideways, look at this, pow. If I'm semi-open stanced, same place. And if I'm fully open stance, I have to use my legs a little more and my upper body. But you see, I can still get at the 45 with all the stances. So really the stance it's irrelevant. The stance is irrelevant. It's how you line up the shot with your center body. And then finally on the 45, It's your racket face that stays behind it. See, I can keep going at the 45 this long, but if I start to go convex, look how much deeper I can get into the 45. So my head stays at or behind the 45, even though my handle may come ahead of it. So the 45 is really an incredible tool for consistency and spin as well as power. So when I'm playing, and what I tell my students to do, especially the tournament players, I say, hey, the first thing you should do is, even as you're passing the contact point, as you're going into your backswing, take a quick snapshot. Take a snapshot right here of your lineup, even as you go back in, because that's where you're going to end up being, just deeper into the shot. So take a quick look at it and continue. And in your mind, you should have a snapshot. And as you go from small to big at the 45, all depending on the speed and the height of the ball. If you have a lot of time, then you can go a little bit more in the negative space and get out to the 45. If it's a quick hard ball or a deep ball, then all you can do is stretch out to the 45. But that would be a suggestion, is when you see that ball coming, start your turn, take a quick snapshot and think, okay, there it is. That's where I'm going to be, but it's going to be further out. And then go right into the shot.
Now add why that snapshot helps.
I find that snapshot helps because it's like a dress rehearsal. You literally get to go through a dress rehearsal right here, knowing what the stroke's going to look like at the 45, and then you just get to live into it. So it's really, like I said, a great dress rehearsal on every ball. You get two chances at that ball. You get your first visual, and you get to think, okay, here's where it's all going to happen, and then boom, you live into that geometry and make it happen. So why else is the 45 so important in your tennis and so crucial to this nonlinear game? Well, there's so many reasons, but number one, it gives you your best depth perception, right? When you're lined up like this and one eye's closer to the target, you really can see the ball the best. That's number one. Number two, it's the optimal contact point, because here at the 45, I can change directions with the slightest movement, right? If I take the ball late, I certainly can't go cross court. And if I take it early, it's going to be hard to go down the line. But right here at the 45, if I see you going over there to net, I'll just hold my tension a little bit in the wrist and go cross court. If I see you covering the cross court at the last second, I can just give it a little bump, push the wrist ahead, and with the smallest of adjustments, I can change the direction of the ball at the 45. So it makes it very, very easy to disguise your shots. And believe me, when you get up to a certain level, everyone hits the ball pretty well. It's about how you can disguise it, how I can look this way and go cross court. Because they're expecting, when they see me with a big turn like this, and they think it looks like it's going down the line, if I'm at the 45, see this? If I'm at the 45, I can just redirect the ball really quickly like that. So it's very, very deceptive, and it's a great disguise for all your shots. The 45 is also great for your spin. If I want to hit a great drop shot, I don't come out like this into the court. I go along the 45 and I let it trail. See, I go from here and then I let it trail, and it's really easy to hit an angle like that. Or with an angle backhand, I don't come out towards where I want to hit the ball. I actually go out to the 45 like this, and you see I have that perfect angle on the hit. So the 45 is really amazing for the slice, and the topspin as well. If I really want to put a lot of mad spin on it, I make sure not to touch the 45 with my racket head, and I pull up before contact. And that puts the most roll you can put on the ball. You see Nadal doing it all the time by finishing on the wrong side of his head. He refuses. He knows what that 45 is. He refuses to pass it because he knows if he stays behind it, he'll make good contact and he'll put the spin he wants on the ball. So for so many reasons, the 45 really is the magical spot to hit the ball. Additionally, on the 45, it helps you figure out what is the best shot. You know, you see a lot of people getting pushed back with lobs and they step back and then they're like this, falling off balance. And really, when you see that ball and you line it up instantly to the 45, well, then you recognize, oh, it's a pickup, right? Or, oh my gosh, it's a volley. But if you don't start by thinking about the contact at the 45 and you just go into a normal backswing, now all of a sudden the ball's playing you, it's pushing you around. So you have to make sure you play the ball. You're in control here. And you see that ball going deep, all you need to do is just get right here. You don't even need a backswing. Same with half volley, same with the swinging volley, right? You can just get right here and just go boom. And the other thing I love about the 45 is, you know, when I was younger, they had us sit in a chair for our backhand, thinking if you stay side on and come through the ball. But those were the old days with the old wood rackets. And the nice thing about the 45 is, at the 45, look at this. I can have a little backswing and a follow through. See that? It's the balance point of the stroke. So it's very comfortable. I literally could put a chair right here and go like this and hit the ball, because it allows you to have a little bit of a backswing. See that? The 0 point here. You have a little backswing with the hips, a little follow through, and you can be on both sides of the hit very easily. So those are two more great reasons the 45 is quintessential in your strokes. And how do you think these guys return these big 130, 135 mile an hour serves in the corner? You think they get their racket back and try to follow through? Not even close. What they do is they go out on the hit, on the 45, and then you don't need any swing. If the ball's coming at you 130, all you need is a good bump. So at the 45, you can literally take their power and use it against them. But all you have to do is be stable right there at the 45-degree angle. And you don't have time, you know, with a serve coming fast at you, you don't have time to take the racket back and get back. So you just rely, you put your racket out on the hit, right? You see the serves going wide, you put your racket out on the hit and just bump it. And you use their power to hit winners against them. And you see it all the time in the pros. Big serves coming back with even bigger returns, but almost no swing. If you watch it carefully, there's just no swing at all. And you'll see whether I step in and make contact right there at the 45, or whether I'm open stance and I'm still right there at the 45. It doesn't matter, because the lineup from my center out to the racket head is the same. Same with the backhand. You want to just come right out at the 45. If I want more topspin, right as I get to this plane, this wall, I pretend I'm on roller wheels and I just come right up. So right as I get to the 45, I either come up off the 45, or I come off the 45 this way. See, I come off of it like that. So whatever it is, I don't want to bust through it like this or like this. I come up and right off the plane. That's why you see Nadal. He so often finishes like this, because he doesn't want to pass that 45-degree line. See, he stays off of it, off of it, off of it, until the racket ends up behind him. So the 45 is absolutely a tenet of our system, and you really, really have to pay attention to the 45, because that's what's going to keep you consistent and improve all of your spin as well. See how people can play in the wind if they don't know the 45-degree angle, and that's the lineup. Because then you're just chasing a ball around and it's just a dot in the sky, you know, and it makes no sense. But on a windy day, if you're here and you stay lined up, well, then no matter what the wind does, you'll still stay in the stroke. So I don't see how anyone can play in the wind if they don't really understand, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, if they don't understand the lineups at the 45. It doesn't have to be conscious. Maybe some people just have it naturally. But how, you know, when you see the ball, it comes out of the abyss, right? It's coming out.
The wind. Right.
Yeah, it's coming out of the abyss, right? And now the wind's blowing it. So you're moving like a dog's head, right? The ball's moving all over and you're just going after the ball. That makes the game very tough. But if you can line it up immediately, right, and go, oh, it's windy. Oh, there it is. But you're still lined up the whole time, or, right? So you can play in a big wind if you know the 45, but if you don't know the 45, I think you're lost.